Welcome along to Albert Park for the first of 4 rounds for ARW's F1 2017 mini-season. My name's Stairs, and as always I'm joined in the commentary box by Madbird.
Yes, indeed. Here we are in Albert Park. 4 rounds of this season. We're going to be going to Albert Park, Austria, Austin, and finishing in Abu Dhabi. Turning our attention to the grid after qualifying, Stairs starts in pole for his first race in the Mercedes. Good start, and alongside him will be Sam, second on the grid.
Xeris was held up in qualifying, has to settle for third. Goofball Antics follows Honda Power to McLaren, he lines up fourth. Former teammates Nether and Bagsy share the third row of the grid, starting fifth and sixth. Look out for former pad users Rambo and Madbird, now using G25s, they line up 7th and 8th. Red Bull's Decimage starts 9th in front of Roadhog in the Ferrari in 10th. Behind them, brothers Bang and Pablo occupy the final row of the grid for Toro Rosso and Renault. Madbird, that's how the grid looks. Off they go, and those are the starting tyres.
That's very exciting. So everyone except for Bagsy and Pablo on the opting for the super softs. Pablo and Bagsy possibly going to be able to go quite a bit longer there on those softs. Tyre deg, not a huge issue around Albert Park, but still may affect the last stint of the race.
Enough to no one really opting for the ultra soft in qualifying. That would have been, I guess, a tad risky because no one really knows if they've got the life in them to last the whole races. We see a Ferrari going off there at turn 3 on the warm-up lap. This is the same sort of thing we had happen round 1 in Shanghai, and that is Rambo. So that is not ideal for Rambo as he as he tries to recover to the track, rejoining back in last place. But of course, our favourites for this season, as last season, with Stairs and Xeris were the ones fighting over the championship. They look like in testing to be the ones to beat today.
They do. Xeris unlucky not to be in second. We'll get a better look at that a bit later. But still starting from third, you imagine he's going to be a potent force in this race with the pace that Xeris has. We all know the pace that Xeris has, even in that Williams on third.
That's right, and Sam Smith starting second for the second race in a row. The last time that happened was our previous F1 race in 2005 cars at Suzuka. Unfortunately, that didn't go well for him.
It didn't at all, but you know, it's a new season, it's a new set of cars. 12 years on from the previous ones driving, and Madbird there with
Rambo's still trying to recover his grid position after spinning at turn 3, and he's actually pushing it close to race speeds on what has been rather a quick warm-up lap, and again on the penultimate corner. And there is our pole sitter, who probably has no idea any of this nonsense is going on behind him, taking up his position on pole position on the outside there on the right-hand side.
He's sitting there for quite a while before any other cars form up, it must be said.
Goodness.
James has got a Haas of Bagsy cutting across in front of him slightly.
James we were referring to as Decimage there, lining up in 9th place. Yes, Bagsy just had to cut across, and we've just got the last Renault of Pablo on the left. Sam hasn't quite lined up properly, and we're waiting for the lights to get us away for this very first round.
And we've got 5 lights, and we are out. We are going in Melbourne.
Looks like a good start. One of the Renaults there of, it looks like Bagsy getting completely dragged to the first corner, as we've got Stairs with a huge lead already, and Bagsy on the soft tyres getting swamped by the Renault, and I think he lost another position as well. We wait to see all the gaps come through, and also Xeris making it up into second place ahead of Sam Smith as they head into turn 3 for the very first time.
Yeah, Nether having a bit of a look there on Sam, but didn't manage to get it stuck. We've got Rambo down in 7th, currently on the back of, I think that's Madbird, behind Goofball in the McLaren as he's exploring the outside of the track like he did in the warm-up.
That's put him under pressure from his teammate there, Roadhog. So Roadhog there in 8th place as we see the positions as they go through the first sector, and Roadhog looking like he wants to have a bit of a go into the chicane, but thinks better of that as it looks like Rambo just a little bit wide on the exit as we've got Madbird applying the pressure to the McLaren of Goofball Antics heading into turn 11 and 12.
Incredibly close behind him. Lost out a little bit there by the looks of it through the fast left-right, but is still pressuring that McLaren. Goofball wanting to hold on to that for as long as he can. Oh my God!
Williams in the fence there at turn 14, I think that is, and that is Xeris from second place, losing his wing, and that will necessitate a pit stop immediately.
My God, that is not a good start there for Xeris on the first lap. He's and now is off on the dirt as well, so probably going to drop to the back of the grid. In fact, definitely going to drop to the back of the grid before the before he actually gets into the pit lane.
That is an absolute disaster for Xeris, and a complete free kick to Stairs very early on. We're going to get a replay. Here he is, and looks like just a bit early on the throttle and straight into the fence.
Yeah, just lights up the rears, coming out onto that curb. Not a good way to start his race. He has a 13-second stop, which is going to put him well down on the pace. I believe he's switched onto soft tyres.
Yeah, so on paper, the one stop has been the quicker strategy so far from the times we've been seeing in testing. But the two-stop, looks like Xeris may well have to go to the two-stop, but it's very unlikely the soft is going to last the remainder of this race.
Yeah, so he's at this point probably as we've got Bagsy there in the Haas going off.
Oh my God! Bang, there's contact. They're still going in the same direction, side by side, turning into turn 11. But Bagsy's still got the track position ahead of Bang, who looks like he may have backed out of it again. Bagsy. Oh, and we've got a Ferrari in the fence. That's Roadhog out of turn 12, it looks like, and spinning it around on his super softs. And again. Spinning it around again, nearly collecting the Renault there. Must be Pablo. He's finally got it facing the right direction. And you're very, very wide in turn 12. And right across onto the other side of the track. Here's how Desamage saw it. Coming out of turn 12. Just never looked like hitting the apex. And very, very good avoiding action from Desamage there.
Absolutely. We've got Bang. Hasn't given up on that position. He is right on the back of Bagsy there. Chasing after 8th position at this stage, going through the first sequence of corners and into the first DRS zone. DRS still not available by the looks of it, or Bang just not opting to use it on this particular lap as he
No, we haven't seen it come up yet. We've got Roadhog there taking to the pit lane, obviously, with the damage sustained in that accident we just saw. But Bagsy started 6th, so he has struggled in this early part of the race with the softs, but it should come back towards him towards the end of the race when he's on the faster tyre.
Indeed, we've got Xeris pushing that Williams like it's never been pushed before. He's now promoted up into 11th with Roadhog pitting, but still not the start that Xeris would be wanting, especially with him and Stairs being so close on pace.
No, well, this is damage limitation at this point. Stairs has really quite a comfortable lead out front. Here is Sam in 2nd place, so he's not that comfortable in 2nd because they've got Nether, who's on the soft tyre as well, so he's looking good from a strategically... Sorry, no, he's not on the soft tyre, I beg your pardon. He's on the super soft tyre, so he should have extra pace at this point, as DRS is now enabled, finally.
And I believe that Roadhog may have just cut the pit exit line there, coming out of the pits, which, of course, is not allowed, so may have to look at that post-race, but Stairs there with the fastest lap. And here we have a replay of the start. Yeah,
we're going to see Xeris come through around the outside of Sam there, and Sam just braking a little bit early on the inside, not as much grip there, keeps it out, and you can see, I think, Bagsy losing the positions there, and confirmation of what you observed before of Roadhog crossing the pit exit line, which will mean that a 5-second time penalty will be added to his final race time. But unfortunately, he's currently last, so it probably won't cost him much. He spins in front of the leader there. That's Stairs going through to lap Roadhog as he backs it into the fence there, and the rest of the guys coming through just a few seconds behind. Looks like Roadhog's still by the side of the road, parked, waiting for everyone to go by.
Yeah, he's going to be waiting for a little while here. He's managed to spin it at a particular point where there's not really a convenient break for him to pull out, so... if he wasn't going to remain in 12th beforehand, he definitely is now. Here we have a replay, just lights it up on the curb. Yep. Stairs manages to avoid him.
Would have had his heart in his mouth there, coming into the chicane there, not knowing which way the Ferrari was going to go. As we looks like the pressure that Madbird earlier on was applying to Goofball seems to have just not quite eventuated, and Goof is now applying pressure himself to Nether. For 3rd and 4th place there, just half a second behind is the battle for 3rd place at the moment.
Indeed, we've got Madbird a fair while back, for probably a few seconds there. Of course, Madbird had a particularly crappy season last time out in the Formula 1 2005, so possibly not wanting to go too crazy here.
Well, running in 5th, that's better than he did in the 2005 series if he can keep it going. Oh, as we've said that, he's spun out at turn 5, and it's he's just lost 4 positions there, down to 8th. So even then, we somehow managed to give him the commentator's curse. As we got Bang in the gravel there as well from 9th place. I don't know if he'll lose a position from that, but it's not gone well for the young Toro Rosso driver.
It hasn't. It has not indeed, but he's still had enough time to get out in front of Pablo in 10th. Can't even see. Oh, there he is, just there. So fair gap back there to Pablo, holding down that last points paying position. Bang managing to keep his 9th spot, but losing. He's a good 20 seconds down on.
Oh! That's Zirus. As I was about to mention, he's in 11th place, but not anymore. He's made that place up on 10th, and you can just see how much more pace the man has. Tyre's not significantly newer than Pablo's, but qualifying obviously at the pointy end of the grid, and that's where he wants to try and recover himself to, as we've got a Ferrari off at the penultimate corner in front of Bagsy and Madbird. This is turning into a spicy old battle indeed.
It is. Roadhog being creative with the track, let's say, as Bagsy looks like he's going to make
Rambo,
that over.
Sorry,
Bagsy looking like he's going to make that overtake stick in turn 1, and does so.
And round the outside goes Madbird, and he's got the DRS. Will he be able to outbrake Rambo into turn 3? It looks like he's got the job done. Rambo takes to the grass. I don't think that he was escorted wide or anything, just probably took too much speed in there and then grabs a bit of curb. And we've also got Bang in the pits. After 5 laps on those super softs, he's had enough of that tyre.
Absolutely. Rambo not having a fantastic race as Bang eases himself, let's say, into his pit box, switching out onto new tyres. It's quite a long stop actually.
Yeah, I
may
think
have
he
had
might
a bit of damage.
Bit of damage, exactly right, as he exits the pit lane on brand new soft tyres. So he may well be looking to go to the end of the race now. And Goofball, as close as we've ever seen him on the back of Nether. So this battle for third rages on, just 0.3 of a second separating these two drivers. As they exit. Ooh, what kind of a? Well, this is as they go onto the final corner, and a drive-through penalty for Bang there for speeding in the pit lane. So that's just made his race go from bad to worse.
Goofball's going for it.
He is down the inside at turn 1. He's got the, looks like he's got the thing stopped. He spun it around out of turn 1 into the wall, and that has put paid to. That's the worst place you can have an accident.
I was literally about to say the worst place to do it.
He's going to lose 3 positions here because these guys here who we saw before, who were battling for what was 6th place as Rambo pits, they're all going to go by, and they weren't really that far behind, unfortunately. So now Goofball's down in 7th place. I don't know how far back Zerus is, but he's going to lose that position when he pits because he's got to have that wing repaired. And now Bagsy looking like he's recovering to a good position here as we look at a replay now of what was really quite. He had the move done, and it just lit it up maybe slightly offline from where he normally takes the throttle there, and just a bit wide, and that sent him straight into the fence. So not good.
It did. Yeah, not good at all for Goofball, as it's helped Madbird out a little bit, held Bagsy up coming down that first straight after the first 2 corners, but looks like Bagsy's managed to spread that lead back out again.
Well, after Bagsy's poor start, he's doing quite well on those soft tyres, so he's still looking good. As Sam is first of our front runners to take to the pit lane, so he has come in. So lap 8, those super softs. So that is probably too early to go to ultra softs, and indeed he has changed to the soft tyre for the rest of this race. So that will probably be the impetus Stairs needs to make his pit stop.
Indeed, and we've got Bang just beforehand was completing his drive-through penalty, I believe he had for the speeding infringement. As we've got, looks like Madbird and D-Samaj, yes, yep, in the pits, and Goofball.
And with his broken wing, and Zerus has already caught up to him with his very slow lap. And Madbird's made the place up on D-Samaj. He's up into 5th place ahead of D-Samaj. So that's a change for position in the pit lane. A slightly tardy stop for D-Samaj as Goofball gets his wing repaired. Zerus obviously makes up another place. Up into 8th place now. So he's gradually recovering from this afternoon. The events this afternoon that he would probably rather forget. And speaking of things that you would rather forget, Bang has managed to cross the pit exit line after serving his drive-through penalty, and another penalty is being awarded to D-Samaj also for crossing the pit exit line. So a lot of people forgetting the rule book today as Stairs pits from the lead.
Yes, indeed. So Stairs with a commanding grab of this Grand Prix at this moment. A good pit stop ahead, I'd say, of Nether. In fact, he's coming out in front of... No, sorry, Nether has just passed him, going down towards the first corner. So Nether yet to pit. Stairs to make up that position still once Nether does indeed pit, because of course pit stop is mandated.
He's not that far behind, brand new Ultra Soft, so he's going to have a lot more pace on that tyre than Nether does. And the last time, well, we wait to see what the gap is from back to Sam Smith. I believe, who is that in the background? That's the Toro Rossos, that's not Bang. Thought the blue might have been Sam, but the last time these guys raced, the ARW League raced in Albert Park, they raced in the V8 Supercars, and Sam did indeed win that race from Stairs, so he'll be eager to replicate his previous Albert Park form here.
Certainly knows the track, you must say. Xeris the only man with 2 stops at the moment. Pablo, Nether and Bagsy yet to stop. So Bagsy currently in 3rd place, but you expect will lose at least one of those positions. Definitely to Sam, you would expect, once he does pit. And Xeris, of course, not having a good day at the office with his 2 stops. One for a new wing and one for fresh tyres.
Sam on much fresher tyres than Bagsy here. 1 lap old, and you can see just how much he's closed up in that shot on a man with much older rubber. And Sam really needs to get this position done, because they're a bit out of sync with their pit stops, and if Sam wants to have any chance of getting ahead of Stairs and closing that gap, then he needs to get by right now. But he's so close, he surely has him now with DRS. Here he goes.
Yes, down into the first corner, popular overtaking zone. He has already passed him, basically, coming up to the... And we cut away.
We go through... This is the battle for the lead now. Stairs going through... into first place from Nether, so not really wanting to wait for him to make his pit stop. Those Ultra Softs giving him the grip he needs.
Yeah, just breezing past it. Barely looked... we got a replay here of Sam overtaking Bagsy quite easily on much newer softs than Bagsy's worn softs. Straight down into the first corner, no problem, job done, and would have some nice DRS off up the road as well.
And here's the replay of that change of position for the lead. Down into turn 3 this is. Nether taking the inside line, and Stairs just driving around the outside of turn 3.
Yeah, all across the marbles, but just shows what sort of grip those new Ultra Softs have in comparison to those old Super Softs. They're a very good tyre if you can get them to last, Stairs.
That's right. So that is going to be a significant factor in deciding these races, how long the tyres last and how long drivers think they can make certain tyres last. Obviously Stairs going just a couple of laps extra on those Super Softs that they all, apart from a couple of them, started on, has meant that he can go on to the Ultra Softs at his final stint, whereas Sam has opted for the Softs. And as we say that, Pablo's making his pit stop after 9 laps on the Softs. Was that Bagsy?
That was Bagsy. Yeah, yes. It looked like he got a bit of a swapper on. It was
Xeris 2 pitting. Sorry to cut across you there.
No, that's fine. So Xeris.
Sorry, Nether pitting.
Nether pitting for his first stop, and Bagsy also for his first pit stop of the race. 3.4 seconds for Nether. Decent time. We'll remain to see if Bagsy's is exactly the same. So that is particularly handy as Bagsy exits the pits. Is probably going to come out in 4th.
Well, we got probably Madbird should be coming down. We can't really see from that angle how far off. If the graphic shows he's still ahead just by about 1.5 seconds there, and that is not going to be a sight that Madbird will be particularly pleased to see, considering that he is on the slower tyre and they're already 3 laps old.
Yes, so worn Super Softs versus new Ultra Softs. His only chance is possibly to overtake Bagsy. Well, never mind.
Oh.
Madbird has spun it in the exact same place as last time with a little trip across the grass for his pleasure.
Nothing if not consistent there, but 5th place, and Madbird is going to probably struggle to catch up to Bagsy with having had that spin and with the much older tyres, as Roadhog takes to the pit lane for... That surely is not his first stop. That must be a mistake on the graphic.
That is at least his 3rd stop, I would expect, as we've got, looks like, Nether overtaking Rambo.
Oh, no, that's Xeris in the wall again as Stairs sets the fastest lap. That's really just this race in a nutshell now. The 2 guys at opposite ends of the field, and Xeris is going to have to pit for another new wing. Hopefully Williams have got another one there for him. Thankfully Nether hasn't broken any, so maybe they can use one of his.
Yes, it just looks like he gets down the inside on Rambo. Rambo gives him enough space, but then loses it on the curb. Spears Xeris into the wall, and that is another broken wing for Williams. Not what Xeris needed.
Fair to say, Rambo will not be Xeris' most favourite person after the shenanigans in qualifying that led to Xeris starting in third place. But
I would not want to be the man that has to stand between those two men when they meet after this race.
Interesting point. The fortunes of the other Williams driver, Nether, in third place. He made his super soft last as long as Bagsy made his softs last. So that is interesting.
That is very good. So Nether definitely looking after his tyres as we've got... Is that Roadhog? No, that's Rambo.
It's not been a great day for the Ferrari drivers. So that's, here we go. Here's Goofball's catching up there. So he want to... Oh, never mind. I was going to say he'll want to keep it clean to keep that McLaren behind him, who also hasn't had the cleanest of races. But
nothing compared to Rambo's.
That horse has bolted.
It has indeed.
Xeris comes in for his third stop. And the most of anyone today, and that is not a record he will want. There's Sam all by himself in second place.
Yeah, quite comfortable leads out the front between from Stairs back to Sam and then from Sam back to Nether by the looks of it. So kind of put the queue in the rack you'd expect with a 2.2 second gap.
No, that's just on that previous lap. That's how much...
Do apologise. That's how much faster Stairs is.
So he hasn't put the queue in the rack. He probably wants to grab a fastest lap for this race because he'll know that Xeris will be wanting something to take home from Albert Park as we look at the man himself. So yeah, Sam on the older and softer of tyres in this race, unless Stairs Ultras go off very significantly in the last couple of laps. Can't see him being able to make an impression on the lead.
Indeed. As we've got Pablo here coming up to be lapped by Bagsy. He's had a pretty hairy race himself. I don't think he's done anything particularly. He hasn't had any particular crashes or anything. He's just not really had the pace to live with the rest of them, as we've got Bagsy all over his rear.
Not giving Bagsy any favours here. Bagsy on the ultra soft tyres is trying to put Nether under a bit of pressure there. Although having said that, he is 10 seconds away, and it would be a tall order to wipe away 10 seconds in a lap and a half. But nonetheless, it's half a lap he's spent behind Pablo.
It is. Pablo definitely not giving the blue flags the maximum tolerance possible. Madbird's dropped 10.5 seconds back on Bagsy since we saw their overtake a couple of laps ago, so just showing how much faster those ultra soft tyres we got. I
think we got the Toro Rosso of Bang there on the inside spinning just where Rambo did in qualifying, so that's not good. And Pablo threw into 10th place, so that's the final points paying position, and the two brothers eagerly fighting over that one.
Yes, indeed. So both Renaults currently in the points, not something that happens too often, as we've got Madbird in the background looming as a lapping threat. Bang currently chasing off after Rambo, who is a lap up on him, obviously. But still would quite like to finish off this race a bit better than he's done the last 14 laps. Stairs.
That is exactly right, and this is the view looking backwards from Bang's car. There's a bit of dirt being kicked up in the background. Was that from Bang's car? I'm not sure.
I think he dipped a tyre, possibly. Nothing too much. We've got Madbird here in 5th place, so definitely if he manages to pull this home for the last lap and a half, then probably his best finish in quite a while, in any series as it was. But definitely under pressure is something that Madbird does not operate well in or under.
Indeed. Just looking at the relative gaps there, Goofball Antics is closing up quite significantly on the back of D-Smash, who has that 5-second penalty, so that's something D-Smash wants to watch out for. Needs to keep a 5-second gap between himself and the car behind in order to keep 6th place. As we look at Stairs just on his final lap, not really pushing anymore, one would think. Just want to bring it home. He has an enormous lead already, 21 seconds. And Goofball Antics there has caught right up to the back of D-Smash. That was 8 seconds after the last time. So it looks like, unseen to the cameras, D-Smash has had an issue, and that means he's probably going to concede that 6th place.
Yeah, and Goofball's team, Goofball's mechanics and such would have been on the radio to him, telling him to get as close to Decimage as he can. Because
they may not know about that penalty, though.
They may not.
Yeah.
They may not, depending. But I mean, obviously, he'd be wanting to get as close to him as he can anyway. But regardless, we have Stairs here crossing the line in first. A commanding victory, wouldn't you say, Stairs?
It has been substantial, that gap. We're still waiting for second place to come through, and until that happens, we're now looking at Goof and Decimage, who are right with each other on track, and look at just how much time there, 3-4 seconds a lap, that Goofball on those Ultras has been pulling out of Decimage on those old softs. As Sam crosses the line to finish second, he'll be richly pleased with that one.
And Nether coming home in third, probably his best result in a while as well, so... couple of surprise packets here. Bagsy weaving his way through the last corner and onto the straight, managing to keep it in a straight line, bringing home fourth for Haas. That's a good result.
That certainly is. They did a very, very good pit stop, and that's why they completed the race. And we've got all sorts of cars crossing the lines, crossing the line here. Some being a lap down, so it's not quite sure where we. Yeah, that's Pablo there finishing on track. They're ahead of the Ferrari of Roadhog, but not actually in the race because Roadhog's a few laps down. And very, very close finish there between Goof and Decimage, but of course Decimage with his penalty is going to lose out there. He crossed the line ahead of Goofball Antics, but not in the final results.
Cars stopped all over the place, just pulling over to wave at the crowd. It's a wonderful atmosphere here at Albert Park.
That's right, and Stairs with the fastest lap there. He is the winner. As you can see, obviously the Drivers' Championship points standings reflects this the result of this race. So Sam in second, Nether third, Bagsy fourth, Madbird in fifth, and so on. As we look at the Constructors' Championship there, Sauber with 18 points. Williams gets, they're the only two-driver team in the top three there, 17 points. Ahead of Haas, Ferrari, Renault with 11, McLaren, Honda doing quite well there with 8 points ahead of Red Bull and Ferrari.
Indeed, it's been quite a race here at Albert Park. I've quite enjoyed it. In yourself, Stairs?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought so. As we saw, there's a confirmation of our race the race classification there. Sam Smith, 21 seconds adrift. Quite a comfortable second place ahead of Nether, wouldn't you say, Madbird?
Definitely comfortable. Not quite as comfortable as Stairs was ahead of Sam, but yeah, Nether with an additional 9 seconds back on Sam, and Bagsy another 11 seconds. So not quite as comfortable between Sam down to fourth as you'd expect, but still fairly comfortable. Lots of breathing space to breathe down.
Rambo ended up finishing in 8th ahead of Xerus, who could only manage 9th after his 2 disastrous accidents.
I hesitate to use the word shit show.
It'll be a bone of contention for Xerus, I'm sure, moving into the next round. But with a bit of analysis on that particular incident that we mentioned earlier in qualifying, we're going to head down to Bagsy at the ARW pad. Bagsy, what have you got for us?
I've got qualifying here. This is Xerus coming into turn 14. And he's about to have a bit of an incident with Rambo as he comes into 15 and about to get onto the straight for his last... This is the end of his flying lap, and Rambo right in front of him walks in basically coming into the final corner and affects his lap quite significantly. We'll see from the onboard here just how bad it is. So coming around third to last corner, coming into turn 15 here, you see that's Roadhog ahead. And off to the side here comes Rambo, and he's trying to get round because there's only about 10 seconds left in the session at this point. Xerus out onto the marbles, loses half a second, a whole second maybe, drops him down the grid from where he could have qualified, and that might have led to the poor performance in the race also. Rambo, here you can just see him spinning around. He has received a 5-place grid penalty for Austria for this, so we'll see how that affects him next week. Back to Stairs and Madbird in the box.
And thank you very much for that, Bagsy. That was an excellent analysis of that particular incident.
It was, so yeah, definitely Xerus losing out in qualifying possibly cost him in the race. Of course, the first accident wasn't really anyone's fault except his own, but was pushing harder than he would otherwise have been.
Well, that's right. Well, the fight continues in the next round in Austria. A very, very different track to the one that we've just completed.
I predict that Xerus will make a hefty comeback. He is going to be unhappy after Albert Park. He is going to want to take the win in emphatic style to show Stairs that he is indeed his rival. The Red Bull Ring is a challenging track. lots of odd braking zones with weird shifts in weight and slope. So it remains to be seen what will happen, Steve.
That's right, and you can't really use that term. But anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you enjoyed that, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and keep an eye out for round 2 coming to you from Austria in about a month's time. I've been Stairs.
And I've been Madbird. Have a good day, mate.